All right, let's talk dressing. Do you stuff your bird or do you make dressing? We make dressing, we put it in a sheet pan, and that's what we're going to do now. Okay guys, so we're going to talk dressing here for just a minute. I am kind of having an internal turmoil over whether or not to make it today, which is the day before Thanksgiving, and just heat it back up tomorrow, or make it tomorrow. I've pushed back dinner. We were originally going to have it at 3:30, but I think we're going to have it more like at 5. So I have time tomorrow to make it. But that doesn't mean I can't go ahead and do some prep work. Now, normally I use, let me show you what I use. I used to make the cornbread dressing, but I don't do that anymore. Another turmoil I'm having is whether or not to make 1 pan of dressing or 2. I think I'm going to make 2 only because my daughter loves it and she can take it home with her. So let me go ahead and tell you, if you're planning ahead, you can put a whole chicken in and boil it, or you can put it in a crock pot and slow cook it, or you can do what I did this year, and I think I did it last year too, is you can purchase a rotisserie chicken. This is what I do because Thanksgiving is just so. If it was just a normal day, I would boil my own chicken. But I've got so much going on, so many recipes I'm fixing. I need to find as many shortcuts as I possibly can, and it still be good. Now we put this, we tear it off the bone and shred it up, and we put it in our dressing. So we actually have meat in our dressing. Now I used to make cornbread, but now I use the blue bag of Pepperidge Farms, and I usually make what our family refers to as hypocrite biscuits. Now, hypocrite biscuits are canned biscuits. They're not quite as, after your homemade biscuits, first of all, I'm not going to stand and make homemade biscuits and bake them and then be so good just to have them be put in a dressing. And second of all, if they are the horse is out. I'm looking at the horse. The horse is out. Second of all, if they're a day old, they may be a little too dry. So this year, anyway, so that's why we use hypocrite biscuits. They're easy. You just put them on a pan, bake them, and you have them. And they're not quite, since the day old, they're not quite as dry as your normal biscuits. Now, when my normal biscuits are fresh made, they are delicious and fluffy and soft and moist. But after a day, they get kind of... So, what I have in my... I'm going to just look what I've got in my bread box. I know I have some hot dog buns. I know I have like partial loaves of bread. So I'm going to look and see what's in my bread box that I need that's, it's not fresh enough for me to use as a hot dog bun to eat it, a hot dog. So, but it's perfect to go in here. So those are things you can do. But anyway, as I'm having my struggle on whether or not to fix it today or tomorrow, there are some things I can do. I can go ahead and chop the onion and celery. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and chop the onion and celery. I have no idea how much I'm going to need. So I've got 2 onions peeled. I'm going to go ahead and chop them. I'm going to go ahead and chop at least 3 stalks, and we'll see where I'm at. I may add some more, but we're going to get this going, and we'll be back in 1, 2, 3. Voila! And just like that, you have chopped celery and onions. Now, because I ended up doing 5 stalks of celery and 2 onions. Now, just because I chopped that many does not mean I'm going to use that much in my dressing. So, I wanted to go ahead and prep a lot in case I do 2 dressings. And then, after Thanksgiving, I'm thinking about making like a turkey pot pie. I could saute some of this up, add that into the pot pie. Not sure what we're going to do with leftovers, but I know we're going to have them. You know why? Because we're having 2 turkeys and a ham. And so there's a story behind that, and you may already know the story, I don't know, but you will. So anyway, let me show you the containers I've got and I'm going to store this in, okay? Okay, so a couple weeks ago when we had our chicken stew, before the chicken stew, I ordered a pack of these. They came in like 24. I ordered them off Amazon, and they seal tight, and I can stick, I don't want onions and celery smell in my refrigerator. So this seals tight, and I can store it till I decide what I'm going to do about this dressing. If I'm going to make it today, if I'm going to make it tomorrow. So I am just going to scoop this dynamic duo of celery and onions. And normally I'm not a big celery fan, but at Thanksgiving, I stick a stalk up in my turkey and I put it in my dressing, and I just think it smells like Thanksgiving. All right. So I'm just going to rinse this bowl because this is my dressing bowl. I'm just going to rinse it out. And I've got my onion and celery chopped whenever I'm ready for it. So these are things that make Thanksgiving easy. Do things ahead of time. Get things done early. And then you can kind of relax and watch the parade. Hey guys, so yesterday we got ready to make the dressing. We chopped up our onions and celeries. We did a little prep ahead. So right now I'm sauteing the onions and celery up right now, and now I'm fixing to pull the meat off the bone, off the carcass. So we're going to put meat in our dressing. So that's what I'm going to do now, is pull the meat off of the bone here on our rotisserie chicken. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Ain't it
Good
sweet?
morning, everybody.
All right, I'm going to do that, and I'll bring you back just as soon as I get ready to put everything together. Okay, guys, I just tore up the breast only on this chicken. I've set the legs over to the side so Isaac and Bryant can nibble throughout the day, because I'm not cooking anything for them other than Thanksgiving meal. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to start with the blue package of Pepperidge Farms. Now, I'm going to make 2 dressings, but I'm just going to make one in front of you guys. So I'm going to have to do everything I'm doing twice. Alright, so I'm just smashing it up, getting up any big particles, and I'll bring you back in just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to set our Pepperidge Farm herb crumbs aside, and I'm going to put in some more bread. Now, normally I use biscuits. I'll bake up some Hypocrite biscuits, but we're not doing that this year. I had some bread left over in my bread box, and I want to get rid of it and make room for more loaf bread to make turkey sandwiches with. Because y'all, we got a bunch of turkey this year. A bunch of turkey. So, let me show you what I've got. I've got these dinner rolls left. And I've got this pack of hot dog buns. I'm going to check, make sure they're okay. They're fine. Just stale. And that's what we want. Good stale bread. Good stale bread. Alright, and I'm just going to cut these into little pieces. This is a good way to use up old bread. We usually, like I said, we normally use biscuits, and I just buy canned biscuits. And I'm going to crumble these a little bit more with my hand as I put them in here. And we call canned biscuits hypocrite biscuits, because they're wannabe biscuits. I think Bryant's family is the one that started calling them hypocrite biscuits. So I'm just going to chop up this bread and these hot dog buns for our dressing. And we'll be back in just a little bit and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so I'm going to put half of my celery and onions in here. I'm saving the other half for the other dressing. I always feel like I should do more. I pour it in here. Alright, I'm going to pour some chicken broth in.
How much?
And I'm not sure. This is a recipe that you don't have measurements really on. You just have to go by the way it looks and feels.
What, about 2 cups?
That was probably about 2 cups to begin with, and we will definitely be adding more. I just want to get it damp, and that really wasn't enough to get it damp.
Don't say you cut on side.
Yeah, but I'm not measuring.
But they need to know.
But it changes. He just said y'all need to know the measurements, but it changes each time. You may have drier bread. You may have, you know, more butter and things. So I can't really give you an estimate. You're just going to have to go by the way it feels. Now ours gets really, really wet. It'll be much wetter than this by the time I'm finished with it. All right. So now's a good time to add our salt and pepper and sage. And I'm going to add a teaspoon and a half of sage to begin with. A good teaspoon of salt. And probably a half a teaspoon of pepper. Alright. Now it has become just mush right now. So we're going to add in half a can. So we're going to start with half a can of evaporated milk. We're also going to add in a can of cream of chicken. I'm going to add in most of my ingredients and then come back to the chicken broth if necessary. And if you run out of chicken broth, you can always add milk or water. Now my recipe calls for a lot of eggs. There's 5 eggs that go in my dressing. Alright, now the eggs that I have are yard eggs from my brother's house, and since they are fresh eggs, I crack them in a bowl before I put them in here, just in case one of them wasn't good. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of give it a quick start on a beat. One. 2. Three. 4. And 5. Let's go ahead and get this mixed up. I think I'm going to add a little bit more sage, and I can tell that by the smell. I want it to smell like sage. Now the herb dressing, the Pepperidge Farm, it has some herbs and dressings already in it as well. And I don't think I'm going to have to add any more. You see how it's puddingy? I guess it's a word. Is puddingy a word? Alright. So now I'm going to add in the chicken. Do you see the chicken? Behind my eggs. I'm going in with half the chicken. And you can either do this 2 different ways. You can lay the chicken on the bottom of the pan, or you can mix it in, and I'm just mixing it in. I may need more of that chicken.
Those Bubba's eggs?
Do what?
Are those Bubba's eggs?
Those eggs are straight from the farm. From my, not my farm, my brother's farm. Alright. There you go. It is very moist. And we're going to get this in the pan. And as soon as I bake my ham and get it out, this will be ready to go in. So there you have it. I'll bring you back once it's baked and we get it out and we cut it. Okay guys, I just had my first Thanksgiving flop. I forgot to put my butter in here. So you're going to put a half a stick of melted butter. I just poured it on top. I had gone ahead and melted it. It wasn't in front of me and I just totally forgot it. So I just poured a half a stick on top and I'm just going to stir it in here in the pan. But don't forget your butter. Alright, so there we go. Now we got it. And I saved a little bit out. I'm going to bake a little pie tin full of dressing. And we can nibble on it and see if it's good. So this is going to wait. I'll stick this in the oven just as soon as the ham gets here. I get it in and get it out. Hey guys, so I made an extra little pan of dressing and it just came out. Now the kind of dressing we use, some use like a really fluffy, or eat. Some use a real fluffy and they just spoon it out. Ours, we actually cut into squares. And so I had a little extra in my bowl, so I made a little tin pan full. And I just got it out. It is so good. It is so good. Even if I forgot the butter. But I added it in, so I really didn't forget it. I caught it in time. But let me show you this little small pan. Now I've got my 2 big pans are in the oven, but this was just something for us to nibble on while we waited. As you can see, we've already gotten into it. I'm gonna cut a little. We'll cut a little piece. Oh, there's a piece of chicken on the side. And that's what, oh, let's get out of the light. That's what ours looks like. You can see the celery and the chicken. And it is some kind of good. Yum, yum, yum. All right, hang on. I'll turn the camera around and I'll give it. Okay, let's taste it. Let's taste it. That says Thanksgiving up one side and down the other. That piece of chicken. This could be a meal. It is going to be my lunch and my breakfast. Oh my goodness, y'all, this dressing is so good. I just took Bryant a piece and he goes, it's perfect. It's perfect. Write the measurements down. Dressing is a hard thing to write the measurements down on. I know my eggs. I know my butter. I know the amount of Pepperidge Farm stuff. But my bread and my liquid, it's kind of always hit and miss. And one always depends on the other. So, depending on how much bread I put in, it depends on how much liquid. So, and if the bread is dry, if it was biscuits, I probably would have put more liquid. So, it's hard to give a recipe. But at least you've seen me make it, and it is so good. So good. So, there's our Thanksgiving dressing. Hang on. Let me swallow. Thank y'all for watching The Farming Pastor's Wife. Happy Thanksgiving. Be sure to put this dressing on your Thanksgiving table. Maybe too late for this year, but you can do it next year. Thank you for visiting with me down on the farm, where if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything. Bye, y'all.